The title of this video is a little bit of a lie. This is an easy guide, the steps are pretty easy to follow, but the Easter egg isn't easy. You need to be prepared for this one. It is possible solo. I know xImJakeyy has already done it, but xImJakeyy is also one of the best zombies players in the world. It's pretty difficult. We were doing it with a full team of 4, and we found it incredibly tough. But we have completed the Terminus Easter Egg, and in this video I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. If you find this video useful or you enjoy it, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, turn your notifications on, and let's get started. So, as with Liberty Falls, and you can check out my other guide for that if you want to complete that Easter egg, the first thing that you're trying to do on Terminus is to get the wonder weapon, which is the beam smasher. Now, you can do this in a few different ways. You can complete the quest, which is what I'm going to show you how to do, but you can also get it just out of the mystery box by being lucky, or using some of the gobblegums that will give you a guaranteed wonder weapon, or maybe even you can get really lucky from the rewards from the trials and stuff. I don't know, I've never got it like that, but maybe you can do it like that. But the important thing is you get the beam smasher. So assuming you want to do it in the way where you get a guaranteed one, let's show you how to do that now. The first step is, as always, just get Pack-a-Punch turned on. Get all the power turned on. So that means going through the map. These are all marked up as objectives, so it should be really easy. You go to 3 of these devices and then defend them for a few seconds after you activate them. It costs like 500 essence. Defend them for a few seconds and then they'll turn on and power on everything in the area. And the route you take will take you down to the center of this lab where you complete the third one. You can see on the left there, it's just got 12 seconds long. This area is called the lab, by the way. You can see it's called Biolab at the top. I will try and use the proper names for lots of locations as we go through this. If you ever want to know what the name of the location you're in is, it's at the top where it says Biolab. Anyway, once that's done, then you need to dive into the water to activate the lift, the incliner lift. You can just sit on it and it'll lift it out of the water. And this is where Pack-a-Punch is. And you are going to need Pack-a-Punch as you go through. It's worth saying that at the end of this Easter egg, there is an incredibly hard fight. So all the way through, you should be trying to make sure all of your weapons are Pack-a-Punched as much as possible. They will need to be level 3 by the end of the fight. You need to make sure you have all of the perks, and you need to make sure your weapons are upgraded to the highest rarity. Just make sure you are as prepared as you possibly can be. We chose to use a bunch of gobblegums, so we were using Perkaholic to get all the perks. I used gobblegums to make sure that I could put my weapon to legendary straight away. We used things that were like profit share to make sure that we all got loads and loads of points when we're working together, especially with double points. That's insane. We were just doing everything we can. I have heard lots of different theories about which weapons you can and can't use in the final fight. For what it's worth, I went in with the second shotgun, the thing that's a bit like an AA-12, the fast-firing shotgun. It was absolutely awesome. I know some people say shotguns won't work very well against the last boss. They absolutely do, and I'll show you footage of that later. So I chose to power that up, and then I coupled it with a ray gun that I also powered up. I think the ray gun is awesome for its area of effect damage, and it can do quite a lot of damage at range, which can be kind of useful at the end. But let's get back to the Easter egg. So, you've got all of the power turned on, you've got Pack-a-Punch. Your next step is to start working out how to get the wonder weapon. So the first step on this part of the quest is to equip dead wire to one of your guns. So you need 500 salvage in order to be able to afford dead wire. So you can see here I just managed to get enough. And this is only on round 5. I'm pretty sure you could do it earlier if you were a little bit lucky with salvage. But then you just go up to one of these ammo stations, the arsenal, and then equip dead wire. You definitely need dead wire. You have to have that ammo mod. Later on you can switch it out for something that's more effective like napalm blast, but right now you need it. Then you need to get onto the incliner, and you're actually going to have to ride the incliner up and shoot 3 switches. One of them you can only really see while the incliner's moving, and then the other 2 you can kind of do anytime. So if you get on the incliner, if you look straight up, you can see there's these kind of windows that are overhanging a little bit. There's an electrical box behind those windows. It's actually on the other side to where I'm marking right then. And then there's an electrical box just there where I pinged on the left, and then one at the top. You need to shoot those in order. So first of all, the one through the windows with your gun with dead wire equipped. That'll make like a little spark go out and go to the next one. Then you can shoot that next one, and then you can shoot the top one. The first time we were doing this, we didn't really know what we were doing, but then I shot this one, and then you can see that spark sort of shot over to the side, and then that actually activates the one on the side wall. You can do this all in one go, but we messed it up a little bit, so we had to go back down. But then you shoot the one that's sparking there on the wall, and then that goes up to that top one at the very top. Then we had to run all the way around because we're idiots and the lift has a really long cooldown. But if you run across to this building, which is the one that has Jug in the corner, then you can see there's a thing sparking on this wall, so you can shoot this one. And then if you go outside, you should be able to see there's one just on the other side of the wall, so you can shoot that one. And then once you've shot that one, then those green doors next to it will open up, and this will take you into the research office. And here you can see where the Wonder Weapon construction table is, as well as a bunch of codes that will come back to haunt you later, unless you like spending money. Now you can see here that I had a prompt to pick up an EMF fob. I think it's actually on that zombie on the right that I'm barely looking at. You can see the one crushed under the shelves. That's where that is, but for some reason the prompt was appearing here for me. You need to make sure that you pick up that. Next, you need to go up to the C tower, so those big towers that stick out to sea, the one that makes a lot of horrible noise. I hate being near this building, it even kills my frame rate. Then if you go in there, on a desk with a lamp on it, you'll see a briefcase that's got a hand attached to it. If you shoot the briefcase, that will give you a multi-phasic resonator. You just need to pick that up, you're going to be using that a little bit later. It's worth mentioning picking this up seems to spawn a bunch of bugs in here, so you need to get ready to do a little bit of extermination. You also need another piece which you can grab if you come out of the room with the laboratory door. You can just see the doors on the left there. Then if you go out of those doors and then go left and just run through this room and then into this next building, which is engineering, on a desk right in front of you, there's a battery. You also need to pick up this item. There's no prompt for it or anything, but if you just go up to it and interact with it, it will disappear and it will give you a battery. You're going to need that in a bit. Now for the next part, you need to interact with 3 computers that are marked with X, Y, and Z. I'm not sure if the letters swap around where they are, because you need to do them in that order, X, Y, Z, but we'll show you where they were for us, and if they're in a different order, just press the X one first. So here's the first one, just at the docks, kind of underneath those big C towers. So interact with that, don't worry about what it shows you. You'll get a little post-it note to remind you later. So that one had the X next to it, so that's the first one. And then if you run around here, I'll show you the route we took to go find the Y one, because these ones just go alphabetically. So run through here, through the mess hall, go back up these stairs, just as if you're going back to kind of spawn really. So up through the storage area, and then you can see the next one, and we've got a Y on this one. You can interact with it, and then that one's completed. Once they've got the screen on, that's absolutely fine. You just have to make sure you do them in the right order. Then the one that was Z for us is just outside communications. So if you come outside the communications area, just wander around these buildings. It's one of the highest up parts that's communications, and you should be able to find the computer up here. They've all got these big kind of aerials next to them. So for us, that one was Z, so then you can just interact with that, and then that step is completed. Like I said, the letters might be in a different order for you, but you always need to do X, Y, then Z to get them all done in the right place. So you can see that one's had the light come on. That means all 3 of those are complete. And now that you've picked up the other pieces from the briefcase with the hand on it, and you've picked up the battery and that little fob that the zombie had on the floor, now you're ready to go on to the next step. So now head back to that room where you were building the Wonder Weapon. Once you get back into the room, so it's just down here on the left through these green doors again, you should be able to interact with one of the computers and pay attention to these whiteboards. Now there's a code here that I'm going to admit I don't fully understand, but luckily there's a way to cheat it. So you need someone to interact with that computer, the one that we were just looking at there. So this is the thing that you're going to be adding the post-it notes to and all the little bits, and you can see there's an X, Y, and a Z. Now I'll explain how I think this works, and I've frozen the frame so I can do this. But we didn't do it this way, and I want to make that very, very clear because I might have made a mistake. Basically, you've got 3 post-it notes there that you took from the 3 laptops. You also have 3 different equations on the board, and you have the little sort of key thing on the left board. On the computer, there's a dial, and if you interact with it, it'll ask you for a code that's going to be made up of 3 separate numbers, each of them between 0 and I think 59. So here's how I think it works. Say you're looking at X, you can see the X symbol on the left is right in the middle. It's in the 1 row and the 1 column. Now I think what that means is that that is going to be 11, as in 1 and then 1. So for that first piece of maths that you need to do, it says 2x, so 2 times 11, that would be 22, plus 11, that would make it 33. Then for the next one, you need both Z and Y. So Z, as you can see, is the 2 and a 2. So that's going to be 22. And Y is in the 1 and the 0. So I think that is 10. I don't know if you definitely read it that way or if it would then be 0, 1. So it would be 1. But assuming it's 10, so assuming you've got a 22 and a 10, 2Z, so that would be 2 times 22, which is 44, plus Y, assuming that's 10, so now that's 54, minus 5 makes that 49. Bear in mind, it is 4 a.m. as I'm recording this, so I might be making some maths mistakes. Feel free to correct me in the comments. Then for the third equation, you've got Y plus Z minus X. So again, if Y is 10, and then you're adding that to Z, which is 22, that's 32, and then you're minusing X, and we've already established that X is 11, so 32 minus 11 is 21. So now you've got the three numbers and you can enter it on that computer. If it's not working or you just can't be bothered to solve it, which is fair enough, you do have the option to go around the corner, go to Peck in his little booth, which is just around the corner from spawn, interact with him, and you'll give him 5,000 essence in exchange for the answer. He'll basically put it up on a little computer screen that's facing the window. That'll just tell you the answer, and then you can just enter the digits as you were going to anyway. Once you enter them, the computer will start freaking out a little bit. You now actually need to progress the round, so finish the round that you're on, and then it will stop freaking out a little bit. The little doohickey on top of the computer will become something that you can pick up, and the computer screen will lock into a position. So pick up the little doohickey on top of the computer, the multiphasic resonator. Check where the map is telling you to go on the computer, although for us, the 2 times we've done this, it's been in exactly the same location. So you can kind of just follow this guide, because you're going to be getting in a boat and going to an island, and then you're going to have to go do a little bit of kind of essence collection. So run down to the dock. So just from that room, I'll just show you the route in case you're a little bit confused. You can run down here and then go through to the right. After you've turned the power on, that door's open. And then you can run down these steps to the docks and buy a boat at this machine. That's what Dalek's doing. It looks like witchcraft, but he's just buying a boat. Then you get into the boat, and if you turn around immediately, the island you want to go to is over here. You can see it currently being attacked by a giant tentacle. Don't worry too much about that. You'll see enough tentacles later. On this island, you'll see this blue glowing orb. You need to interact with the orb, and that'll place down the little doohickey that you picked up off the top of the computer. Now a load of zombies will spawn, and every now and then the orb will decide to zap one of the zombies that's nearby with a big laser. It's like super obvious when it happens. So when that happens, that zombie will be all lit up. We were calling them the spicy zombies to identify them. When it's lit up a zombie, when they're all electrified, when they have become spicy, you then need to kill that zombie and it will drop an orb. So you saw there, it just fired a laser at that zombie. That zombie's now spicy. You can run over to it and pick up that little orb. You can see Dalek's done it there. And then just run back and literally just run into the big orb. You need to do that like 3 times, I think, on this one. So you can see there, it just zapped another zombie, made them spicy, killed them. There, I just run around and pick up the orb, just interact with it. It will hold it in your hand and then run straight into the orb. You don't need to interact or anything like that. After you've done it 2 or 3 times, I'm not quite sure how long, make sure you pick up the resonator again, and then you need to hop in your boat and follow the orb where it went. You can see the trail in the air for a little while. Do worry about that tentacle, because it does do quite a lot of damage if it catches up to you, but the boat's faster than it, so you can outrun it as long as you're going kind of quickly. So go over here, and you're now going to be going over to Crab Island, which is the biggest of the islands, and now you're looking for a green orb. Again, for us, this was always in the same place. I'm not sure if it will be different for you. You know, we've got a very small sample size. For us, the orb always went over here and was just in the middle of Crab Island. Now you do the exact same thing. Plant down the little doohickey and then watch as the orb turns some of the zombies a little bit spicy. Pick up the essence after you kill them and then plonk it into the orb. I'm using a lot of silly words here just because this is quite a repetitive task, to be honest. But once you've filled it up, then remember to pick up the doohickey again. If you forget that, you're going to end up having to come back for it, and that'd be very embarrassing. But make sure you pick it up and then hop back on the boats. For some reason, we ended up with a bunch of boats when we were doing this one. I'm not really sure. And then we still ended up leaving people behind a lot. But anyway, once you're done, then you go around. We found it a little bit harder to see where the next one went. It wasn't quite as obvious because there wasn't like the trail anymore. But if you go around, you can actually see that we'd been pinging it, that it went over in this direction. It's just if you go over to this island, the one that's kind of just circular, it's on the coast there. You can see it's purple now. That's where it was, again, both times that we've done this. I assume it'll probably be the same for you. This is exactly the same deal. Go plant the doohickey down, then the orb will make some of the zombies spicy, kill them, steal their essence, carry it into the orb, and then once that's complete, you can pick up the doohickey. Once this orb is filled up, you'll actually have like a blinding white light, and that kind of shows you that this entire thing's done. And now you'll have the amp munition, which is, I guess, the ammo that the beam smasher's going to use. I don't really know. Anyway, now you should have all 3 things that you need in order to build the wonder weapon. So get in your boat and then head back to that sort of secret computer lab where you can build the wonder weapon at the workshop. I haven't really shown you all of the different directions for all the places you need to walk around between them, but you really do kind of need to learn the map while you're doing this Easter egg. So once you get back to the research office, you can just construct the wonder weapon on the workshop. It will take a little while, but you can see there, it's ready and you can pick it up. Just get someone in your group to pick it up. I have heard people saying that this weapon isn't very good and doesn't work very well for the boss fight. I disagree. I think it's actually great and it can be really useful for the boss fight. Just make sure that you've pack-a-punched it a lot because it's not that strong. And anyway, you need to pack-a-punch it for the next step. So once you've got the beam smasher pack-a-punched, then you need to go find one of the tentacle traps that's in the biolab. There's 2. There's one that goes to the caves that you came through at the beginning of the game. It's not that one. Instead, it's one that goes through to the mines. So it's probably stayed sealed unless someone's run through there. There's all this broken stuff on the floor, and you can kind of see, if you just ignore the people squirming around on top of it, that there's actually a little ID card there, just underneath Dalek's hand there. If he backs up a little bit, then we can see it. There we go. There's an ID card there. That's the one you want. Now, what you need to do is activate this tentacle trap and then shoot it with the pack-a-punched beam smasher. And that's going to get it to drop a hard drive that you need. So just get someone to pay for the trap so all the tentacles come out, and then whoever's got the pack-a-punch beam smasher, just shoot up into it. You don't need to get caught by it or anything like that. We weren't really sure what's going to happen. But you can see there, the hard drive popped out. It's a yellow item. It's a little bit more highlighted than some of the others. So you can just grab that. Believe it or not, that's actually the first step of the main Easter egg. Everything else up to now was just to get the beam smasher. That's the first step. And there's not many more steps after this. So as you're going into the next few sections, make sure you've taken a little bit of time to get the armor, get pack-a-punched, get perks if you want them, because you're going to be doing some quite big fights soon. So now you've got that hard drive, you need to go back up to Peck. So go back up to his little window and then interact with him, and you need to sort of like put the hard drive that you've got in that little tray there, and then he will start talking a little bit now. And basically what you're trying to do is to work out what's happened to Mara's brother Nathan, because, you know, that's the whole reason why she's here, is to try and save him. So there you can just see Dalek shoved the hard drive into that little thing. There's the code on the window, by the way, from earlier when we couldn't solve that puzzle. And then Peck is looking up on a computer what's happening, and then he tells you that Nathan is in a holding tank in the biolab, and Peck says he'll unlock the viewport so you can talk to him. Sounds great. So Nathan is just inside this kind of central pod that's right in the middle. I was looking around at all of these other side little pods, but the one you're looking for is actually the middle one. And if you go up to this keypad and then just interact with it, that's basically what Peck wanted you to do to open up the viewport. So you can just go up here, interact with this, and then, surprise, here's Nathan. He looks a little bit worse for wear, but he is inside this biolab container, and he wants you to get him out. But to get him out, you need a 3-digit code. And this 3-digit code is hidden around a map in the weirdest way. I don't know what these scientists were thinking. As Nathan's saying, they made a cheat sheet for the code, and you've got 3 different locations you need to find. So the first digit is on the clock in the interrogation room. So if you go back into the base and then you go where Peck's window is and you kind of go over to the side, these are the interrogation rooms, and you can see there's a big cage. On the opposite wall there's a clock. Whatever the hour hand is to, so this one was just a little bit past 3 o'clock, that's the first digit. So in our case it's 3. Ignore the fact that it's actually 23 minutes past 3. Only the 3 is the relevant bit. The second digit, again, very weird. If you go into the mess hall, which probably run through a lot, there is a card on the notice board. It's the number that the card represents. So in our case, it was 7 of spades. You just need the 7. So we've got the 3 from the clock and then the 7 from the card. Now the last one is the number of days since the last accident. And to get to that one, you need to run out of the mess hall. And then if you go through the living quarters, you can eventually find a building called engineering, and then in engineering there's a poster on the wall which shows you the number of days since the last injury, so there's a 4. So for us the code would be 374. It is random every game. Like I said, we've done this Easter egg twice, and both times these numbers were all completely different, but the order is always the same. So it'll always be the clock and then the card and then the number of days since the last injury. So for us, it was 347, and we just needed to go and put that into Nathan's tank. Now this is going to be a bit of a boss fight, so just prepare accordingly. If you're on still quite an early round, you can spend a few rounds just to get a little bit more money, get some perks, level up your weapons, all of that kind of thing. To be honest, we ended up being a bit over-prepared for this, but it doesn't hurt because you need to have everything fully upgraded, ready for the boss fight, the final boss fight, which isn't too far away now. So now you go back to that keypad in front of Nathan, type in the code, and then you'll be told that you have to interact with some valves altogether. This is the game's sneaky way of getting you all to stand on the platform at the same time. So basically there's these little valves on the side of it. There's no kind of interaction prompt or anything like that. You just need everyone in your team to go up to one of the valves and then turn them at the same time. Obviously, if you're doing this solo, you can just do one of the valves and that's fine, that'll start it. But if there's 4 of you, like there is for us, you need 1 person on each valve. And you just time it, so count down like 3, 2, 1, and then everybody turns their valves to start the boss fight. I'll let you enjoy this little sequence.
And to think you guys had no faith in me. Bet you feel stupid now.
So, turns out, to the surprise of absolutely everybody, Nathan has actually been turned into a horrible monster, and now he's going to chase you around. If you've fought the amalgams before, he's basically one of those. As I said, when we did this, we were a bit overpowered maybe. I had a triple pack-a-punched LMG that was absolutely shredding him with dead wire on. When we did this the second time, it was actually much, much harder, and this took absolutely ages. But if you're pretty geared up, you should be able to kill him before he causes too many problems. There are also going to be infinitely spawning zombies all around. You can't farm them for points. They're only worth like 10 points each, so it's not really worth it.
It hurts. It hurts. I've got this.
Wait! He's my little brother. My responsibility. This is on me.
Do it.
Maya. I'm so sorry.
Save it, Peck. I don't need sorry right now. I need to get even. Whatever else we do, we're gonna kill everyone responsible for what they did to Nathan. Got it? Especially that syndicate trash Franco, who sold him to Modi for his sick experiments.
I am many things, but sick is not one of them.
What the hell?
Oh, I've been watching your progress from my sub. Frankly, I'm amazed you're still alive. But let's face it, you are never getting off that island.
You are fucking dead, Modi! I don't care how far you run, you'll pay for what you did to Nathan!
And for everything you put us through these past 6 years.
And you're giving back my goddamn warheads!
I don't think so, Dr. Peck. I'm just counting the minutes till you're all torn apart.
We are gonna get her. Right?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
So with that dealt with, now you need to jump into the water to find an access card that's been dropped down there. There's also a pile of goo in the middle if you're interested in seeing piles of goo, and a few new intel pieces here and there as well. So if you hop into the water of Biolabs, and do be aware that the tentacle monster can spawn here, so be, you know, a tiny bit careful. I'm not really sure if this is one of the things that can spawn lots of different places, but it was super obvious to us. So you can see there, it's glowing bright yellow. It's got the little item prompt. So you can pick that up. And then that's the kind of Nathan section of this completed. Now you need to get back into a boat. So head back down to the docks or wherever you've got a boat. You can actually do it from right inside Biolab if you want. And now you're going to be heading to that kind of abandoned ship that you might have seen a few different times. Now, I don't know what just happened with Jakeyy. That was weird. It looked like he was going to miss, then he teleported onto it, then he teleported off it. It was very, very strange. Anyway, go over to this boat. If you went down to the dock site we did, it's super close to it. And you're not going onto the back of the boat. Instead, you're going to go into a hole in the side of it. So you can take the boat like right in there. It's quite a big gap in the side of it. And then on the right, you should see a ladder, and that goes up to a hatch. And just next to the hatch, can you see at the top there, there's a little card reader. That's what you're going to use that access card on. And then you probably want your entire team to hop up there. Now, inside this room, there's a few different things, some photos and stuff, and there's these 2 canisters, the node connectors there actually are. They're like big bits of cable. 2 people need to pick these up. I guess if you're solo, you can probably pick one up and then come back to the other one later. I'm not really sure, or maybe there's just one. But then as soon as you pick them up, zombies will start pouring through these 4 windows. The first time we did this, we didn't really realize that there's 4 of us and 4 windows. We could just stand at each one. Eventually, Craig worked it out, and the second time we did it, it was much easier. But yeah, basically a bunch of enemies is going to spawn. It's not that hard. There is an ammo crate in there if you need it, but you are locked in here basically until all of the enemies are dead. Once they're all dead, you'll get a max ammo and you can go back onto your boat. And now with those node connectors that you've got, you need to go and fix a cable that kind of goes from one of the sea towers into the caves and is a little bit on Crab Island too. There's 3 possible places that the node connector could be broken. Like I said, there's one in Crab Island just on the right up here, and then the other 2 are underneath the sea tower and then into the caves. One of them will already be fixed, and it's again random which one's fixed and which ones you need to do. And then the other 2, you need to put the node connectors in. The ones that are broken, so you can see this one's already repaired, so we didn't need to do anything with that one. The ones that are broken will have a bunch of zombies around them, a bunch of zombies to fight. The ones that are already fixed won't, basically. So that's the first location. The second location is in the caves up here. I was just sort of looking around at where we were and trying to get bearings and thought that maybe I could climb up there to see what's going on. That isn't actually what was happening. For some reason, all the zombies freaked out in this little bit. I'm not really sure why. They were like running past us, and then they decided not to attack us for quite a while. Then randomly, they stopped, turned around and started attacking us. I don't know if that's a part of it or if that's some other Easter egg that we accidentally triggered. It's a bit odd. But anyway, if you go into these caves, it's actually on the right-hand side of the caves. You'll see that there is a bit that has a gap in it. Or this could be the one that's repaired for you. You might not need this one. But this is one of the possible locations where there's a gap. Then one of the people who has the node connector just needs to interact with it. It takes a while, so they might need to be defended. And then you need to go find the other one. If these 2 are done now, you've fixed one and then the other one's repaired, the last one is going to be over on Crab Island. So if you haven't found the other one that you need to repair yet, go over to this. It's the biggest island, so it's kind of out to the sort of southeast, I guess, southwest of the map, south of the map, basically. And then on this island, you should be able to find a connector. Again, because it's, for us, the one that was broken, that meant loads of zombies would spawn, just the kind of annoying ones that spawn around the quest Easter egg. So if you go around here, we found it right at the back of the island, so all the way down there where kind of Jakeyy is at the moment. So you can go around here, And right on the kind of west-hand side of the island, there's a little beachy bit. And then just in that beachy bit, you should be able to see the final node connection that you need. Luckily, Jakey's just pinged it for us, so we can see exactly where it is. But also, unluckily, there was a bunch of zombies here, so sadly I didn't get the best footage of it. I did have to kill this mango. So, again, there you go, you can see Dalek's fixing it there. It's just there underneath that green ping. While somebody's fixing this, you really do need to defend them. And that's easier said than done on Crab Island. I think this is the hardest of the locations to defend. But once you've got all 3 of them fixed, so you only had to fix 2 because one of them was already done, then SAM will start talking to you, and it'll turn out that it's not really Samantha Maxis, it's just kind of an algorithm that's kind of designed a little bit like Samantha Maxis, that's connected to that big thing that was trapped with the Forsaken. So here, there's a bit of an explanation that Samantha Maxis was the source code for SAM, but the real Samantha Maxis has actually sacrificed herself to save your world. Anyway, you now need to go back to Peck to talk about this. So hop back in your boat or wander off from wherever you fixed the last pipe and go and talk to him. It is funny how whenever Peck's in an Easter egg, you end up having to go back and talk to him so many times, and he tends to be in really inconvenient places. But oh well. So head up here, and then you can see a bunch of power sites spawned and followed us. I'm not really sure what that was about. Go back up to the window, and then just talk to Peck, and it says, Sam instructed Peck and Strauss to assemble a device which you can use to hack radio buoys in the sea. So he'll put a little thing after they've finished talking into that little slot. So you can just see there it popped out, the hacking device. And now you're going to have to go and find 3 buoys which are out in the water. Luckily, these are always in the same place. So just head back down to the docks, and I'll actually show you this entire route, because I think we found quite a good route to do this. This is another one of the steps that I think is maybe a little bit trickier solo, because you've got to juggle a few different things going on at once. But if you've got a team, you can have kind of one person driving the boat, one person shooting, or 2 people shooting, and one person doing the hacking, and that probably works out a little bit better. So just go down to the dock, summon another boat if you haven't thoughtfully placed your other one there already. I hate to think how much money we wasted on boats in this. So I decided to drive it here, and if you go out of the dock, the first buoy we went to, there is actually one over there, but we actually went to one on the left, and this made everything else a little bit easier, because there's going to be a timed section at the end of this, and if you start with this one, you can do the last one kind of close to where you need to end up being. So the person driving the boat needs to pull up close to the buoy, and then the person who's got the hacking device just needs to hack it. You do need to stay fairly close to it. Obviously, the person who's hacking could decide to kind of jump in the water if they wanted to, but we had to worry about the tentacle and all of these bugs that will be constantly attacking you. It's worth just killing all of these bugs because they are such a pain. So after you've done that buoy, then if you go along, so you've kind of got the main island on your right, and you go between that and Crab Island, you should be able to see the next one just after Crab Island. It's kind of floating near the back of that ruined cargo ship. So again, do exactly the same thing. The person who's got the hacking device can just kind of go near it. I think at this point Dalek accidentally got dropped off on it, but he can hack it. It takes a little while. We had the tentacle starting to attack us here. That's what that thing is on the minimap. But once they've said that they've completed that one, you now need to go to the next one. You only have like 2 minutes to do this, so you do have to do it in a sort of fairly sensible path. Keep on going the way you were going. This is the joy of doing that first one when we did. And then you can just go back and go round these islands, and now you can just about see the last one. It's just past this weird mysterious docks that you can't access at this point. Maybe you'll be able to wonder what that's used for. You're actually getting very close to the near the end of the Easter egg here. So go up to the last buoy, and then the person who's hacking needs to try and defend it again. I actually fell out of the boat then, which is a bit embarrassing. And we had the tentacle creature thankfully distracted by Craig at this point. But once you've done all 3 of those, then there'll be a load of talking, and you need to try and haul it back to the biolab as quickly as you possibly can. If you keep on going around the island a little bit, you'll get back to the docks, and just before the docks you'll see there's this little tunnel. It's actually quite hard to see in this, but when you're playing you can see it a bit better. and then you can go through this tunnel back into the biolab. You want to get there as quickly as possible and try not to lose anyone on the roof of the cave, like I just knocked Dalek off them. So once you manage to get back inside here, what's going to happen is a bunch of nuclear bombs have been planted around this lab and you need to defuse them. They're all hidden behind these doors. There's 2 on the lowest floor and then there's 1 just above them. All you need to do to defuse them is walk up to them and hold the interact button, but you will get attacked a lot while you're doing it, so as ever, have your teammates trying to defend you. I did that one and turned around and no one was bloody defending me, which made some of this a bit trickier. But yeah, after a while, once you've done the first one, I think then more enemies will end up spawning. So I did that first one, and then we're just running around trying to get to safety. Obviously you can do a little bit of kiting here, try to get people to help you if you can. I had to keep on hopping in and out of this raft in order to survive. You've got about 5 minutes to do it, so it's quite a long time, and if you've got back to the biolab straight away like I told you to, then you've got absolutely loads of time to do this. Even if you're doing it solo, 5 minutes is a long time. So just interact with them to defuse them. Like I said, the second one's here, and then the last one is just above. So if you go up these stairs, so just from where the last bomb that I was defusing was, if you go up these stairs and then underneath this little sort of overhang bit, you can see the last bomb is up there. So once you've defused all 3 bombs, that will end the countdown and then you don't need to worry anymore. Like I said, this bit seems quite stressful, but it's actually pretty easy. It's pretty calm and it'll fade to white. And now you're basically 1 step away from completing the Easter egg. This is your time to do your final preparation. So make sure everyone's full on armor like you can see at the bottom. Everyone's got self-revives. Everyone's got whatever gobblegums you want them to have and perks. Make sure you've definitely got 2 Pack-a-Punch level 3 weapons if you possibly can. Like I said, I was using the second shotgun, which I think is really good. And I had it up to legendary rarity. And I had the ray gun fully Pack-a-Punched. And that was even cutting it a little bit fine. But then you interact with the big white door in the lab and it will take you to this cutscene.
Welcome back, Dr. Modi. We'll be taking that submarine now.
Peck! You're an idiot! And these thugs of yours are less than idiots. None of you can begin to appreciate the things I accomplished here. You aren't qualified to Ah!
No! My warhead! God damn it! My God! Was that patient 13? Something's happening. Aesthetic energy spiking off the chart.
So this is the last boss fight and it is tough. You're going to be fighting Patient 13, that is the giant kraken type thing. And basically I think it's easier if you split this up into little jobs. In this first phase, Patient 13 is going to keep on disappearing and then reappearing, and he'll have these kind of big blisters on the side of him. You need to be doing damage to that. That's what's going to be hurting him. While that's happening, every time he goes up on a side, he's also going to swipe with his tentacles, so everyone who's over there needs to get away. You can see there he smashes down. That will easily knock you down in 1 hit. There's also a bunch of zombies spawning, just loads of zombies spawning, and there's a bunch of these tentacles spawning. Sometimes they have all these yellow blisters all the way up them. If you see that, try to shoot them to get them down. That's how you stop them from doing projectile damage to you. They're not that important, they don't seem to do that much damage, but it's worth just trying to kind of keep everything as clear as you can. So the way we kind of did it was I was using my auto shotgun, trying to take down as many zombies as I could as I was running around. A couple of other people were trying to focus on the tentacles and stop them from becoming too much of a problem, while 1 or 2 other people were trying to attack the boss as much as possible. And obviously everybody tried to help out all the time. We also all agreed on running anti-clockwise around the arena, so you didn't end up running zombies into each other, because that would be a right pain. There is ammo here just where I'm standing there, so when you run out of ammo you can just grab more. You get loads of points from all of the stuff that you're killing, so that's not too much of a problem. But the main thing is just to keep on moving, keep on rotating around, keep on killing as many of the tentacles as you can, as many of the normal zombies as you can, and then after you've done enough damage to the boss, you can see like on our screen now, his health bar will disappear. That means you've finished the first phase and you now need to go and attack tentacles. For us, that happened in a few seconds. It happened so fast that we did loads of damage to all of those blisters on him. It was absolutely fine. People did use chopper gunners in this. You can do that, but if you get swiped by him or knocked by him, or there's a change of phase, it will actually knock you out of the chopper gunner. So you can use them in this early part if you want to. I didn't find them that useful. After a little while, after you've killed enough tentacles, he'll reappear like he is doing here. And now he's got a big weak point in the middle, which is basically kind of his mouth. And you can do an absolute ton of damage to that. You do still need to be worried that there's a bunch of tentacles coming around. Now there'll be a bunch more manglers in the fight, which is obviously a bit of a nightmare. And the boss, who's now glowing red as if he's on fire or something, will be a lot more aggressive in kind of moving and swiping. So just try to keep an eye on where he is. Try to do as much damage as you can, as quickly as you can. If you knock him down, if you do loads of damage straight away, he won't swipe, I think, but then sometimes he'll hop up and just swipe immediately. We did have one person, Craig, on our team, got like knocked out of the arena at this point. He went absolutely flying, which kind of sucked. He did manage to get back, but he had to swim quite a long way in the gas. And if you go into the water, you've also got the Kraken to deal with, which will hunt you down. So you can see there, Dalek got knocked down off the edge. This is a real problem, so just keep on moving, keep trying to avoid. And every time you get a clean shot of the boss, just try to shoot him as much as possible. Really, I think the main thing for this section of the fight is not to panic too much. It feels quite overwhelming because you're getting hit by so many things. Just try to think about all the resources you've got. So I had one of those injector things that let me turn into the mangler. It didn't seem that great at first because the shots are so slow, but then I realized that if I did hit the weak point on something, I was actually doing an insane amount of damage, and it can be quite useful just to kind of tie up a load of the zombies. There you can see I was fighting a mangler, and the boss actually took the mangler out, but because I was in the mangler suit, I was actually fine. I survived. And if you do shoot the weak point on the boss, you can see there I did 14,000 damage per shot on the boss, which is absolutely crazy. Really, the big advantage of using the mangler suit, the mangler injector thing, is that you're not getting hit. You can't take damage while you're in this. So it kind of gives you a little bit of a reprieve. Now, after a while, the boss's mouth will stop being a weak point, and instead the boss will appear, and he'll have two tentacles raised up, and they're now the weak points. So you need to destroy the weak points on both tentacles. This is really, really annoying because he's going to start slamming all over the place, and he actually does like 3 different kinds of slams. Sometimes it'll be in the middle, sometimes it'll be off to one side, and then he will disappear and do the same thing from a different angle. Now, on top of having to deal with the manglers and the zombies and the tentacles, you've now got a bunch of parasites in the air as well, which are super annoying. Try to keep calm, try to keep prioritizing things that you can actually do some damage to. We found that the chopper gunner was really useful here as well. You could just take out a bunch of them immediately. This is actually when Craig got knocked a long way away from the map, which was a little bit of a nightmare. It looked pretty bad for us right now because everybody started going down. Everybody started struggling a bit. We were using a load of different gobblegums, trying to burn through everything. But because we'd done so much preparation, because we had great weapons already, we had a load of perks, we had a load of decent gobblegums to use, that made the next few minutes much more bearable. The gobblegum that I just used was near death. If you put that on, then people can get revived just by being close to somebody else. Unfortunately, no one was close enough to Craig, so he had to self-revive anyway. But this was super useful because I started dying here. Don't forget about the parasites and the tentacles and everything like that, because they are constantly chipping away damage at you, and they can distract you from the boss, who's also going to be smacking down and still doing those really fast now swiping attacks that can knock you down in one hit. And I think the tentacles are the ones that are throwing those gas balls around. You can see I just picked up some ammo there. So it's an absolute nightmare. Now you can see there I got smacked down, lost all my armor, nearly all my health, and then I got knocked down by a couple of parasites. Thankfully, at this point, because I still had near death on, all Craig had to do to res me was stand near me, reses me really fast, and I did lose nearly all my perks, but I was at least alive. because I lost Juggernog and I lost all my armor, that did mean that then I was getting knocked down basically all the time. Like, once you've lost health in this, it feels like an absolute nightmare trying to get back up, especially if the zombies have got a little bit out of hand. Now, once you've done enough damage to the boss's tentacles, he'll go back to having a weak point on his face that you can shoot a little bit. All of the tentacles will get a little bit more aggressive, so keep on trying to run around. You can see here I started running clockwise, which wasn't what we agreed, so I had to run back the other way, and people started going down as well. Like, Jakeyy was going down there, but because we had near death, it was fine. Just pop up again. But you can see there the massive weak point on the front of the boss, just absolutely laying him into him with the shotgun. And if you look at his health bar at the top, he's still got about a third of his health left, so he's still got quite a lot of health. But if you concentrate on the boss, if you really start burning down, you can see here we cleared a lot of the tentacles, we'd cleared a lot of the zombies out, and that actually meant that we could just focus on damaging the boss. His health starts dropping fairly quickly. So at this point, you want to be damaging the boss as much as possible, and you also want to try and stay at this bit near the ammo, near the front, because what the boss is going to do is he's going to block off a large part of the arena. So when his health bar disappears at the top, you can see it's gone there. He'll submerge for a while, an amalgam will spawn. I'm not sure if this spawns on solo, but it's quite hard to kill. As well as a bunch of armored enemies, there's some manglers and things like that around as well. Try to get your entire team around the front and just try to clear out as many zombies as you can. Don't worry too much about all of the tentacles, kind of shoot them when you get an opportunity, but really try to keep this front area clean. Make sure that you've got ammo, make sure that you know what sort of gobblegums and stuff like that you've got left, so you can all fight effectively for the next section. So once you finish off clearing the last tentacles, once you think you're kind of in control, you've wiped out the last tentacles, the boss is going to go into his third phase, and this is where it gets really difficult. If you thought it was difficult already, you have no idea what's going to happen here. So not only are you fighting amalgams, but now the boss comes back with a brand new insta-kill attack. He turns blue and he basically starts waving his tentacles in the air and charging something up. When he's doing this, you've got two options. You can try and shoot him in the face and out-damage it, which will actually cancel the attack, or hide behind this cover at the front. There's a little bit of cover on each side, but because this is the hardest phase, I strongly suggest you use absolutely everything at your disposal to kill him. So what we ended up doing that worked was using the idle eyes gobblegum that basically stops zombies from attacking you because they can't see you, and then just everybody focusing on his face and just burning him down as fast as possible. First time we did this, we were trying to hide in the water and stuff, and it was an absolute nightmare. This worked much better. You can see how fast his health is falling. We were doing tons of damage to him. It burned him down, and once you get his health bar down, he will explode, and now you've completed the Terminus Easter Egg. So let's enjoy the final cutscene.
Well done. That looked exhausting.
Well, today sure didn't go like I thought it would.
Today must have been very difficult for you, Pack. Humiliating, even. But at least we eliminated that monster and Modi. Gather in the guard station. I have a proposal that I believe may interest you.
Okay, Sam. Whatever your plan is for bringing back Maxis, it better be good.
It is. I have scraped all Project Janus files classified Director's Eyes only. Richtofen is obsessed with an ancient relic called the Sentinel Artifact. He believes it has the ability to manipulate a form of protomatter called prima materia.
You can't be serious. The term comes straight from medieval alchemy. Don't ask me to believe such horseshit. I am a man of science.
As is Director Richtofen, Dr. Strauss. The artifact is believed to be somewhere in the Principality of Avalon. He hired a criminal organization, the French Syndicate, to find it. They are interrogating a man called Gabriel Kraft. Your former associate, Sergei Ravenov, now employed by the Syndicate, abducted him on the orders of his boss, Franco.
I'm in.
Enjoy your revenge, young lady. I'm not chasing after an old wives' tale.
Oscar, we've all seen things that seemed impossible. And Richtofen is no fool. If he and Sam believe that this artifact can actually bring her back, we have to try. We can't give up on her. She never gave up on us.
She's right. Let's see for ourselves if this Sentinel thing is the real deal.
Agreed. But I still want to know where that bastard Richtofen is hiding.
Unknown. He may be en route to Avalon to collect the artifact.
Then let's find it before he does.
Heads up, people. Helo's ready. But the storm's getting worse. We gotta go, now!
So lots to digest there, references to the Black Ops 4 Chaos storyline, stuff from Vanguard even, a hint of where we're going to be heading next with zombies. Sounds like we're going to Avalon. Loads and loads of stuff happening. At the end you get a choice of whether you want to exit and then you can just see your rewards and stuff, or you can continue playing. If you do decide to continue playing, the game will basically give you a bunch of stuff. So it will just put you back into spawn, but you've got all of the stuff that you had when you defeated the boss, and it will drop a ton of essence for you. So just loads of bonus point things spawn right in front of you. It will give you Perkaholic, so you've got that. You'll get flawless Ethereum crystals, legendary ether tools. We had a ray gun on the floor, a bunch of legendary weapons, just so you can kind of carry on playing the rest of the round if you want to, or the rest of the match, with all of the most powerful stuff. Once you get back to the lobby, you'll see that you've now got a new operator skin for Maya, who's one of the sort of proper zombies crew. Looks pretty cool actually. She's got like blue hair and she's got this zombie head hanging off her. I think that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool skin. And if you look at your calling cards, I had sort by all for some reason. This doesn't show up in the zombies challenges. You should now have the Terminus calling cards, and you'll have one of them, which is Terminus Quest Complete Early. That's got slightly different colors and has that little gold skull in the corner, showing that you did this before the guided mode came out. And that's all there is to it. It only took like a 50-minute guide to explain. That nearly took as long to explain as the Easter egg did to do. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that. If you found it helpful or you had a good time watching this, make sure you like and subscribe. There'll be a bunch more of these. We're getting another zombies Easter egg, probably Avalon, I'm guessing, before Christmas, so we'll be doing this again then. I'll have a bunch of zombies and Black Ops 6 content over the next few days. Make sure you subscribe, turn your notifications on, and I'll see you for the next one. Goodbye.